My beloved brothers and sisters, there comes a moment in life when you realize something painful, yet freeing. People will not always be there. Some leave without explanation. Some change without warning. Some promise and then disappear. And if your happiness is tied to them, your heart will constantly feel heavy. True peace begins when you learn how to stand alone, not in loneliness, but in strength. Happiness was never meant to be borrowed from people. People are temporary. Moods are temporary. Situations are temporary. But the one who created your heart is permanent. When you depend on people for emotional stability, you are placing your heart in hands that were never designed to carry it. This is why disappointment hurts so deeply. You expected from creation what only the Creator can provide. Being happy alone does not mean you hate people. It means you no longer need them to feel whole. You stop begging for attention, approval, or validation. You stop shrinking yourself so others can stay. You stop chasing conversations that drain your soul, and slowly, quietly, your heart starts breathing again. When you learn to sit with yourself, you discover who you really are. Not the version shaped by opinions, not the version performing for acceptance, but the version that speaks honestly to Allah when no one is watching. That is where real peace lives. Allah did not create you to be emotionally dependent on people who are themselves struggling. He created you with a direct connection to Him, a connection that never leaves you on read, a connection that does not get tired of your tears, a connection that does not abandon you when you are difficult, broken, or silent. When you feel alone, it is not a punishment. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes Allah removes people so you stop idolizing them. Sometimes He creates distance so you learn where your strength truly comes from. And when you stop depending on people, something powerful happens. Disappointment loses its control over you. You appreciate people without needing them. You love without fear. You give without expecting anything in return. Your happiness becomes stable, not fragile. Learn to enjoy your own company. Talk to Allah in your quiet moments. Build routines that heal your heart. Guard your peace fiercely. Not everyone deserves access to you, and not every absence is a loss. The strongest hearts are not those surrounded by crowds, but those anchored in trust in Allah. If people stay, be grateful. If they leave, be content, because the one who matters most has never left you. And when Allah is enough for you, nothing else feels missing. Happiness was never meant to be something you collect from people. Yet many hearts grow up believing that peace will come when someone stays, when someone understands, when someone chooses them. Slowly, without realizing it, the heart becomes dependent. It begins to wait for messages, attention, approval, and reassurance. And when those things are delayed or taken away, the heart collapses. This is not because the heart is weak, but because it was relying on a source that was never stable to begin with. People are human. They change. They get tired. They misunderstand. They become busy, and sometimes they leave. Even the most sincere person cannot promise emotional consistency forever. When your happiness is attached to people, you hand them power they never asked for and were never meant to carry. You start expecting them to fill a space that only Allah created Himself to fill. That is why disappointment feels so heavy. It is not just the loss of a person. It is the collapse of misplaced hope. Depending on people for happiness also makes the heart restless. You begin to overthink every reaction. A short reply feels like rejection. Silence feels like abandonment. Distance feels like punishment. The heart becomes anxious, constantly seeking reassurance, constantly afraid of being forgotten. This is not peace, this is emotional slavery. And Allah did not create you to live chained to the moods and actions of others. True independence of the heart begins when you understand that people are a gift, not a foundation. They can add beauty to your life, but they were never meant to be the reason you feel alive. When Allah is placed at the center, people move to their correct position. You appreciate them without clinging. You love them without fearing loss. You enjoy their presence without panicking at their absence. Relying on Allah for happiness does not mean life becomes free of pain. It means pain no longer destroys you. When someone leaves, you feel it, but it does not break your identity. When someone disappoints you, it hurts, but it does not shake your worth. Your heart remains anchored because it is tied to the one who does not change, does not forget, and does not abandon. This shift does not happen overnight. At first, the heart resists. It is used to leaning on people. It is used to external comfort. But slowly, when you start turning inward and upward, something changes. You begin to speak to Allah honestly. Not polished words, not perfect phrases, but raw feelings. You tell Him when you feel ignored. You tell Him when you feel unloved. You tell Him when you are tired of being strong. And you realize something powerful. He listens every time. As this connection grows, your neediness decreases. You stop chasing people who make you feel small. You stop explaining yourself to those who have already decided not to understand you. You stop begging for space in hearts that are already full of other things. Your self-respect increases because your heart is no longer starving. When Allah becomes your source of happiness, you no longer measure your worth by how people treat you. You understand that their behavior reflects their capacity, not your value. This realization is freeing. It allows you to walk away without hatred, to stay without attachment, and to love without losing yourself. Depending on Allah also teaches patience. You learn to sit with discomfort without panicking. You learn that loneliness does not mean abandonment. Sometimes it is a pause designed to realign your heart. Sometimes Allah removes noise so you can hear Him again. And in that silence, you find a calm that no person ever gave you. This does not make you cold or distant. It makes you balanced. You still care, but you are not consumed. You still feel, but you are not controlled. You still connect, but you do not collapse when connections change. The heart that depends on Allah is the strongest heart. It bends, but it does not break. It feels pain, but it does not lose faith. It faces loss, but it does not lose direction, because it knows where its happiness comes from. When you stop depending on people for happiness, you finally breathe. You finally rest. And you finally understand that peace was never outside of you. It was always waiting in the place where your heart meets trust in Allah.